The Flames of Eternity, The Burning of Ideas, Giordano Bruno and His Legacy. Rome, February 17, 1600. The Piazza Campo de Fiori was unusually silent. It was a market square, bustling most days with the cacophony of vendors and shoppers. But on this day the air was tense with expectation. A crowd had gathered to witness the end of Giordano Bruno, philosopher, heretic, and dreamer. At the center of the square, a scaffold and stake rose above the sea of curious onlookers. Bruno, dressed in the penitential robe of a condemned heretic, stood bound but unbowed. His dark eyes, hollow from years of imprisonment, betrayed neither fear nor submission. A Dominican friar approached him, holding out a crucifix. "Renounce your errors, Brother Bruno, and embrace the mercy of the Church." Bruno's voice, muffled by the iron gag fixed to prevent him from speaking to the crowd, was still strong in his defiance. "You fear my words more than my death," he said, though only the friar could hear. The priest recoiled as if struck. Giordano Bruno was born Filippo Bruno in Nola, a small town near Naples in the Kingdom of Naples, in 1548. The son of a soldier, he showed early promise in intellectual pursuits. At age 15, he entered the Dominican monastery of San Domenico Maggiore in Naples and took the name Giordano. The monastery's library exposed him to the works of Aristotle and Aquinas, but it was the writings of Nicholas of Cusa and the controversial heliocentrism of Copernicus that captured his imagination. In his quiet hours, Bruno began to question the limits of the Aristotelian Ptolemaic cosmos taught by the Church. One fateful afternoon in the monastery garden, Bruno approached his mentor, Father Anselmo. "Father, what if the stars are not mere points of light, but suns like our own, each surrounded by worlds teeming with life?" Anselmo frowned. "These are dangerous thoughts, Brother Giordano. The scriptures teach us that the heavens declare the glory of God, and earth is his chosen realm." "Does not God's glory shine brighter in an infinite universe?" Bruno countered. "Why would he confine his creation to a single orb?" Anselmo's face darkened. "Silence, boy. Such talk leads only to ruin." But Bruno could not silence his mind. His questions grew, and so did the monastery's suspicion of him. In 1576, after being accused of possessing forbidden texts and questioning core doctrines, Bruno fled the Dominican order. For the next 16 years, Bruno lived as an intellectual nomad, traveling through France, Switzerland, England, and Germany. In each city he sought patrons, taught philosophy, and debated scholars. His unorthodox ideas made him as many enemies as admirers. In 1584, during his stay in London under the patronage of the French ambassador Michel de Castelnau, Bruno published Dell'infinito universo e mondi, on the infinite universe and worlds. In this groundbreaking work, he rejected the Aristotelian geocentric cosmos and even Copernicus's heliocentric model, proposing instead an infinite universe with no center and no edge. At Oxford, Bruno attended a public disputation on the nature of the cosmos. The hall was packed, the air thick with anticipation as Bruno prepared to present his radical views. The Chancellor, seated at the dais, began the proceedings. "Our esteemed guest, Master Bruno, wishes to enlighten us on the nature of the universe. Speak, sir, and be concise." Bruno stepped forward, his Italian accent sharp in the quiet hall. "Gentlemen, I propose that the universe is infinite, containing innumerable suns and worlds, each bound by natural laws and perhaps harboring life." A murmur rippled through the room. One scholar rose, his face flushed with indignation. "Are you suggesting, sir, that Earth is not the center of God's creation? That we are but one among countless worlds?" Bruno met his gaze. "Yes, precisely. The divine is not confined to our small sphere. God's greatness is reflected in the infinite expanse of the cosmos." The Chancellor leaned forward. "And what of Scripture? Does it not state that God created the heavens and the earth?" Bruno smiled faintly. "It states also that his ways are not our ways, nor his thoughts our thoughts. Shall we limit him with our narrow understanding?" The hall erupted in anger and astonishment. Bruno's ideas, far ahead of their time, were met with scorn. Yet he left Oxford unshaken, convinced of the truth of his vision. In 1591, Bruno returned to Italy, lured by an invitation from Giovanni Mocenigo, a Venetian nobleman interested in philosophy and magic. Bruno's stay at Mocenigo's palazzo began cordially, but tension soon arose. Mocenigo, frustrated by Bruno's inability, or unwillingness, to teach him esoteric secrets, accused him of heresy and handed him over to the Inquisition. During his trial in Venice, Bruno defended himself eloquently. "I have taught no doctrine contrary to the faith," he insisted. "I have sought only to explore the works of God, which are revealed not only in Scripture, but in the book of nature." The Venetian inquisitors, wary of his ideas but reluctant to execute him, transferred him to Rome in 1593. For 7 grueling years, Bruno was interrogated by the Roman Inquisition. The charges against him included denying the Trinity, rejecting transubstantiation, and claiming the existence of infinite worlds. Cardinal Roberto Bellarmine, Bruno's chief interrogator, was a man of fierce intellect and unyielding orthodoxy. In one particularly tense exchange, Bellarmine pressed Bruno on his cosmology. "You claim that the universe is infinite," Bellarmine began. "Do you understand what this implies? It denies the uniqueness of Christ's incarnation and redemption." Bruno, his chains rattling as he shifted, replied calmly, "Does the incarnation lose its power if it occurs in more than one world? Can we not imagine a God so great that he extends his mercy to all creation?" Bellarmine's eyes narrowed. "You do not answer as a Christian, but as a philosopher. Will you recant these blasphemies?" "I will not recant," Bruno said, "for I have spoken the truth as I see it. The universe is infinite, and within it lies the infinite glory of God." On February 8, 1600, the Inquisition pronounced its verdict. Giordano Bruno was a heretic. He was to be handed over to secular authorities and burned at the stake. When the sentence was read, Bruno reportedly turned to his judges and said, "Perhaps you pronounce this sentence with greater fear than I receive it." The morning of February 17th was cold, the air sharp with the scent of impending rain. Bruno was led from his cell to the Piazza Campo de Fiori. His mouth was gagged to prevent him from addressing the crowd, but his eyes, burning with defiance, spoke volumes. The executioner tied him to the stake, and as the flames rose, Bruno's mind seemed far from the pyre. Perhaps he envisioned the infinite universe he had imagined, stars and worlds uncountable, bound by the laws of nature but free from the tyranny of dogma. When the fire consumed him, it was not the end of his ideas. Galileo, Kepler, and later scientists would build upon his vision, and the concept of the multiverse would emerge as a cornerstone of modern cosmology. In the end, Giordano Bruno was not defeated. He had dared to look beyond the confines of his time and glimpsed eternity.